So, mal schauen, was die jetzt von uns wollen. Mal will ja so gesehen mit uns reden.
Drinking some water can help with the dizziness. Oh, and lying flat on your back helps too.
Thank you, Bennett. Seems like you really know your stuff.
Well, when life gives you lemons.
Bennett, weren't you feeling dizzy too? Stop pushing yourselves, both of you. Get some rest. We'll continue when you've gathered your energy.
Yula might come off as a little frosty, but she takes caring for her friends super seriously, more than anyone else I know. Every time I see that look on her face, I'm just like, ah, stop staring at me.
Ein bisschen kalt, aber ganz lieb.
Traveler, I know what that look means. What's on your mind?
Als würde etwas passieren.
Maybe seasoned veterans have an instinct for it. I sense it too. Something seems to have changed, but I can't confirm for sure. It could be difficult to verify. It might be imprudent to speculate out loud, but I believe you know what I am referring to. Traveler, I think... you...
Vorsicht.
It's not over yet. Brace yourselves. This'll be a challenge.
Stay back! I'm going to cut this weed down to size!
Wind Strider.
Also erstmal wieder Schutzschild. Müssen wir also die Samen zerstören.
The wind knows me.
Ja. Und einsammeln. Okay. Das killt uns auch.
Wind strider. Time to go. Fallen leaves adorn my night.
Das ist Einsammeln gar nicht mal so gut. Ach, der wird ja immer kleiner. Oh.
Retribution.
Kann man die auch zerstören? Okay.
No one escapes my sights. Go, Baron! I swear by my sword.
Wenn man das einfach zerstören kann, ist das halt nicht so schlimm.
As one with wind and cloud.
Ah, ging doch. Das ging doch gut.
What in the world was that thing? One moment it was human, the next it was a plant.
Is everyone all right?
We're fine. But can you please tell us what's going on? I don't understand.
I take it this monster is whom I had the pleasure of meeting last time.
Correct. As you might have guessed, this is a mutated whopper flower. An extremely rare kind.
But can whopper flowers turn into humans?
Not typically. But conditions on Dragonspine are far from typical. Perhaps the dragon's blood seeped into the land, then was passed to the monsters via the ley lines, accelerating their rate of mutation.
How could that happen?
This mountain is home to the remains of Durin, the venomous dragon. If there is anywhere in the world one might expect life to do unfathomable things, it would most likely be here. Durin was an artificially created life form. Its existence is nothing short of a miracle, and proof of countless possibilities. In other words, this mountain we stand on is a cradle of life's profoundest mysteries. A vast and terrifying hotbed of possibilities.
The avalanche. It must have been the work of this imposter.
Das denke ich auch.
Agreed. All the other troubles you faced on the way down could also have been its handiwork. My guess is that it was targeting everyone that I've had contact with.
Die Alchemie-Notizen wurden auch von ihnen geklaut.
Right, I forgot all about that.
It's not inconceivable.
But what was its purpose? Was it just trying to get rid of us?
I have a preliminary hypothesis on this. Whopper flowers are masters of mimicry, and those we encounter in the wild often appear in the vicinity of the plants they impersonate. In other words, the whopper flower likely has an instinct to replicate and replace. As a plant, it will disguise itself as another plant and infiltrate the group, hiding among them for cover. The plant being imitated has no way to detect or fight back against this behavior. But when it disguises itself as a human,
It wanted to replace you and infiltrate our group?
yes, maybe it created the avalanche to get rid of us. I predicted this eventuality, so I availed myself of the avalanche to hide and lure it out. It was watching us the whole time, and when it saw that I had disappeared, its instinct was to take my place. At that point, its disguise was complete, and its next move was to hunt its prey.
Yes, that's exactly how whopper flowers operate.
So when it approached and attacked Joel, what was that? A trial run?
Perhaps. Or maybe it enjoyed posing as a human, and wanted to experience what it felt like to be human.
We're fortunate to have discovered it in time. I think the Traveler was the first person other than Albedo to notice something was wrong.
Weil er ist auch scharfsinnig.
Traveler. How could you tell the real me and my imposter apart?
I want to know too. I had no idea the other guy was an imposter. They looked exactly the same to me.
Der Doppelgänger hatte keine Sterne am Hals. Weißt du?
I see. It goes to show how difficult it is to impersonate a human. This mutant whopper flower tried its best to replicate the original exactly, but still managed to miss some details.
Unbelievable. To think that Dragonspine creates such terrifying possibilities.
Das Dasein einer Vanillokwa. Könnte es sein, dass der Doppelgänger, den ich jeden Tag auf der Jagd nach den Dieb getroffen habe, auch dieser war? Erscheint mir nicht genau das gleiche Gefühl zu geben. Könnte es sein, dass die Veränderung der Vanillokwa auch unbeständig ist?
Anyway, at least we won in the end. It looks like my method did work after all. I used up all the bad luck, and the good luck finally came through.
About that. If you're referring to having fallen down the mountain and avoided injury, well, that's because I was secretly protecting you.
Huh? Well, that still counts as good luck to me.
Yes, that's not an unreasonable way of looking at it. Okay. We've been delayed long enough. Time to move on.
Yeah, let's go.
Schatten der Ungewissheit. Geht zum Abenteuerlager. Okay. Ruf zum Lager und mal schauen, was uns erwartet. Also vor allen Dingen ist es nicht mehr so kalt.
Woohoo! I'm back!
Da freut er sich.
Cyrus doesn't seem to be here. He must have headed up the mountain. Let's wait for him here.
Amber, are you feeling better?
Yep, all good now. Nothing to worry about.
I don't know what I'd do without you guys. If not for you, I'd probably still be locked up in that cage. I really want to thank you all properly, but I can't think how at the moment.
Huh? You must be pretty used to being on the receiving end of people's kindness by now, though, surely. You probably need it often enough, given your situation.
Come on, don't put it like that. Sure, plenty of people have shown me kindness before, but that doesn't mean I will ever take it for granted. No matter how many times people help me out in life, I will never forget any of them.
Well, instead of repaying those who helped you, perhaps you could help others yourself. Everyone meets others in need from time to time. By choosing to be there for them, you're passing the kindness you received onto others.
Yup, you're right. That's what I've always tried to do, and will always continue to do. Right. And when Cyrus gets back, I'll find some way to help him out too.
This has been quite an eventful day.
Yeah, it has. It's really hit me how tired I am now that I've started to relax.
I need to rest. Everyone, please excuse me for a while.
Yeah, I need to get some water and maybe a piece of fruit. Once I'm rested up, I need to get back to being an instructor again.
Well, it looks like the curse of the mountaineers who couldn't get off the mountain is finally broken. Feels like an action-packed chapter has come to a close. Shall we find somewhere to rest and chat too?
Why not? Then please, come with me.
Tatsächlich gibt es da etwas zu sagen.
You sensed something too, didn't you? Then let's go.
Huh? Are you going back to your camp again? Paimon thought maybe we could talk here.
Timern los.
Okay. Might as well come with you.
Good. Shall we set off right away?
Klar.
Sorry for bringing you back here once again. Some topics are best discussed in private.
Is this about the imposter?
That's right. I have to say, Traveler, I'm very surprised you noticed the difference between me and the imposter.
Meinst du das am Hals?
Yes. This mark. Perhaps it's where it all began.
Ooh, sounds like the beginning of a big story. Keep going.
Well, I can't deny that what I'm about to say does sound like something from a children's storybook. So, what do you think this diamond-shaped mark means?
A tattoo? A crest? Something else?
Eine Narbe?
No. Consider it a birthmark. Have you ever seen an intricate glass ornament and wondered how it was made? Well, one method for crafting with glass is a technique known as glass blowing. Glass blowing is not a widely known art in Teyvat. For this reason, glassware made in this way is usually very expensive. As the name implies, glass blowing involves blowing air into a hole, much like blowing up a balloon. This type of glassware is known for having a pontal mark at the point where the blowpipe was inserted, where the hole was sealed at the very end. This mark is a sign that the item was crafted by a human hand.
Sounds kind of amazing.
It is a wondrous and beautiful art form. Alice says that these marks are seen as proof of the maker's fine handiwork, the only flaw in an otherwise perfect work of art. My mark is something similar to this. The difference between synthetic and natural life lies in the directional flow of the life force. The energy of a natural life form flows out from within. That's why flower buds bloom and curled leaves unfold. And it's the very reason we watch and wonder at blossoming flowers. Creating life artificially, on the other hand, involves, to a certain extent, the introduction of an external source of energy into the embryonic life form. When the hole where the life force was infused is sealed at the end, it leaves a mark not dissimilar to the pontal mark in blown glasswares. The alchemical substance drips and spreads out in all directions, resulting in this rather ingenious diamond shape.
Wow. So that's where it came from.
This mark is a sign of my artificial origins, and proof of my imperfection as a human. I presume that the imposter intentionally avoided replicating this mark, so as not to become less than perfect himself.
Ist das kein Problem mit all denen, dass du, ist das kein Problem, mir all das zu erzählen?
You are fundamentally different from other people. I have few qualms about sharing my secrets with you. Just as Paimon said, it all sounds like a story. Even if you were to tell anyone else, they would regard it as nothing more than a tall tale. The transcendent and miraculous are not the only things to which human beings aspire. They pursue the everyday, the ordinary, to a far greater extent than I would have ever imagined.
Deshalb gibt es auch das Anderssein.
People like to believe that those who are thoroughly different from themselves could only ever exist in stories. It makes things much easier. Or, in other words, all the unfathomable things we've seen recently would make good material for a novel. I have friends who write novels. If they wrote this story, it'd probably be even more complex.
Making up stories is easy. Even Paimon can do that.
Oh, I didn't know you had that kind of talent.
Paimon's the best guide in Teyvat. Making up stories is a piece of cake.
In that case, how about we have a storytelling contest? We can base our stories on the events of the last few days.
Sounds great. But we still have to help out the Adventurers Guild.
I understand. Creativity is something that cannot be rushed. Take your time, and come back when you have found some inspiration. We'll see whose story is more compelling.
Deal! Okay, we'll regroup with the Adventurers Guild for now.
Sure. My story. Yes, I should have known. Master's failed specimen in the dragon's belly. This is where the story truly begins. If we switched places, if you were the survivor, then as the abandoned experiment, the failure of the primordial human project, I'd want to replace you too. I would replicate your appearance, study your alchemy, and create miraculous life forms to divert your attention. I would wait for the right moment, then dispose of you and the Traveler, the sole person to have known your secret. And then, I could finally experience the joy of being brought into the world.
Schatten der Ungewissheit. Aufstieg der Teufelsblume. Zerstöre alle Teufelsfrüchte und besiege die Teufelsblume. Unterbrich den Schneeballangriff der Teufelsblume, die Teufelsfrüchte und besiege sie. Besiege insgesamt 4 Monster, die von den Teufelsfrüchten erschaffen wurden. Besiege die Teufelsblume, ohne dass sie irgendeine Teufelsessenz absorbieren kann. Ja, okay, das ist halt, ja. Also gegen den Kampf mit der Teufelsblume und so, das kann man ja inzwischen. Das ist nur nicht wirklich was Besonderes.
Guess what? Paimon's story is finished. Let's go see Albedo again.
It is the last link I have to the land of my birth.
Oh, if only we had some help here.
Geheimnisse aus der Asche. Wieder im Drachengrad.
I love it when it snows. The world falls completely silent, and I can sleep undisturbed.
Albedo!
Traveler, Paimon. I suppose your story is ready.
Yep. How about you? Do you need some more time?
No need. I am also ready to tell my story.
Paimon calls dibs. Paimon first!
Please, go ahead.
Okay, here goes. Once upon a time, there was an evil researcher who went into the mountains and did a crazy experiment on whopper flowers to transform their appearance. After a lot of pain and suffering, the whopper flowers finally took on a human form. Then they stood by the side of the mountain to wait for unsuspecting bypassers. To whoever spoke to them, they would ask some questions such as, "Who am I? Who are you?" If the bypasser got the wrong answer, the last sound they'd make would be a yelp before the whopper flower ate them alive in one bite.
Ooh, truly frightening.
Paimon ist gruselig.
What the? You two aren't scared at all!
Vielleicht bin ich einfach zu stark.
Don't go nitpicking, okay? If you didn't like the story, go write your own!
Nun mit ein Horrorelement. verwandelt sie sich in den Menschen.
In other words, the Whopper flowers would ambush and then completely replace their victims.
Und benutzt seine Identität.
And then what? Go back to where the person lives? Enter their home? Eat their whole family? Paimon made up this story, but now Paimon's the one who's scared by it.
It's a good story. Oh, may I write it down? I may bring it up in future conversations.
What for? Just to scare people with?
Yes.
You've got a real mean streak, Albedo.
Was hast du für eine Geschichte?
Mine is a little longer than yours. It starts with an alchemist. A great alchemist once created Subject 1. Subject 1 was her proudest achievement, and successfully blended into human society. No one ever would have thought that this friend of theirs was in fact a synthetic human. However, unbeknownst to Subject 1, the alchemist had tried the same experiment many times before he had come into being. Some of the rejects from failed experiments had been discarded, but had not died. Subject 2 was one such failed experiment. He was swallowed by a great dragon that came to rest upon a snow-swept mountain. Many years later, he was resurrected by the dragon's mysterious power. He saw all kinds of people on the mountain, including Subject 1, who had somehow miraculously blended in among them. Never in Subject 2's wildest imagination had he thought it possible for experimental life forms such as they to deceive everyone so successfully. He saw the way humans accepted Subject 1 as a friend, witnessed their affection as they addressed him by name. This was what Subject 2 wanted. Now, all that Subject 2 desired was to replace Subject 1 and take the joy of his existence for himself.
This is giving Paimon the chills. So scary.
Subject 2 began to unfold his plan. He stole Subject 1's books and notes, and studied all that Subject 1 had learned from the alchemist. Subject 2 was highly intelligent, and he learned quickly. He changed his face into an exact replica of Subject 1's face. Then, he found a plant with mimicry capabilities.
Oh,